Greetings, Father Joe here, your friendly neighborhood pastor, coming to you from St. Patrick's Church in lovely Highland Mills, New York. Today is Friday of the 19th week in Ordinary Time, and this week we have been focusing on sacrifice and suffering. In our first reading, we have Joshua speaking to the people about the good things that God has done. In the gospel, this is from Matthew chapter 19, Jesus is speaking about divorce and remarriage. And oftentimes people say, I don't believe in the God of the Old Testament, the one who punished and was mean. I believe in the God of the New Testament who was loving. And I think sometimes we can forget that in the New Testament, God does call us to a greater holiness. He does call us to a deeper relationship with Him. And so while in the Old Testament, God did allow for divorce, and Jesus says, for the hardness of your heart, in other words, out of fear that the husbands might do worse to their wife by not divorcing them. But Jesus calls us to a greater holiness. And so he says there is no divorce and remarriage. Then he says there are some who don't get married because that's the way they are from birth. There are some who don't get married because of something that other people have done to them, and that would be a eunuch, basically. But there are some who basically don't get married because of the kingdom of heaven. And sometimes people say, well, that refers to priests and nuns and brothers. Not in this context. In this context, this refers to people who don't get married because getting remarried, I should say, they don't get remarried because that would be adultery. And adultery is one of the sins that keeps you out of heaven. And so people do not get remarried, one, because it would be adultery, which is a serious sin that keeps you out of heaven, but also as a sign of God's love and fidelity to His people. The image of a husband and wife is so crucial in the development of God's relationship with us. We can look at God as a creator, and it still is fairly distant, or as a shepherd with the sheep. But the most intimate and the last image of our relationship with God in the Bible is that of a bride and a bridegroom. And so the relationship of a husband and a wife is not only important because of their individual relationship with God and their relationship with each other and getting into heaven, but married life is a proclamation of the gospel. And so we're not asking husbands and wives to stay together and be miserable. We're asking married couples to work on their relationship. And that does require sacrifice and suffering. And sometimes when marriage does not work out, first of all, there is the possibility of an annulment, which is not a divorce. It simply says there was something missing that was essential for the sacrament. But sometimes people have to make sacrifices and suffer in order to get into heaven and in order to be an image to the world. So maybe today, this week, this month, we can pray for married couples, not simply so that they will just stay together and tough it out, but so that they will work together to be a beautiful proclamation of the gospel. God bless you.